Tensions between North Korea and South Korea continue to escalate, with South Korea recently openly stating that Russia is likely to supply North Korea with nuclear missiles. The Korean Peninsula, which you can see in this region, has seen rising tensions ever since Vladimir Putin signed a defense pact. This development is expected to have a substantial impact on the global economy, geopolitics, and overall U.S. Russia relations, according to recent reports from sources like CNN. South Korea claims that a deal has been struck between North Korea and Russia where North Korea will consistently send soldiers to Russia, who in turn will use them against Ukraine. In exchange, North Korea will receive nuclear technology, specifically nuclear missiles. Russia is set to provide North Korea with missiles capable of posing a threat to the U.S. Now, you might wonder if this means North Korea will actually attack the U.S. Not necessarily. This situation is more of a bargaining game. Russia is well aware of what North Korea wants. North Korea desires that the U.S. come to the table and negotiate to find a way to defuse this crisis. Imagine Kim Jong-un negotiating across the table with someone from the U.S., perhaps Trump or Kamala Harris. The discussion would likely focus on how to avert this threat and establish peace. At that time, the more powerful North Korea appears and the greater the threat it poses to the U.S., the better the deal Kim Jong-un can secure. The ideal outcome for Kim Jong-un would be to have sanctions lifted on North Korea, allowing the country to resume international trade while keeping its nuclear missiles. Additionally, he would want his dynasty to continue ruling North Korea as it does now, without any attempts from the U.S. to push for democracy. North Korea seems to be preparing for such a discussion by continuously sending soldiers to Russia and conducting nuclear tests. Yes, it is being reported that North Korea will soon conduct a nuclear test using new technology provided by Russia. This nuclear test will involve Russian technology. Meanwhile, certain K-pop singers from South Korea, though I don't know their names exactly, have reportedly been receiving death threats from North Korea, warning them to create certain types of music or face severe consequences. At this point, you may wonder why such a major development, with North Korea sending troops to Russia, has gone largely unaddressed by the Russian president. This is quite a significant situation, and it's surprising that a powerful nation like Russia would need additional soldiers just to take on Ukraine, a country without nuclear weapons. Recently, at the BRICS summit held in Russia, an American journalist confronted Vladimir Putin, pointing out that satellite images and videos now confirm the presence of North Korean soldiers in Russia. The journalist asked Putin directly why this is happening and how he can justify it. Putin's answer was quite interesting.
Mr. President, Keir Simmons from NBC News. Mr. President, satellite images are said to show North Korean troops here in Russia. What are they doing here, and wouldn't that be a massive escalation in the Ukraine war?
Let me take up first the first part of your question. Satellite images, well, that is something serious. If there are images, then they are reflections.
He replied, "If you're seeing it in the satellite images, then something must be happening." Putin openly acknowledged the presence of North Korean soldiers in Russia and further explained that this is happening under an agreement, specifically Article 4 of the Russia-North Korea Agreement. Since Russia is currently engaged in a war against Ukraine, North Korean soldiers are assisting under this defense agreement. Now, you can probably understand why South Korea is so fearful and why the U.S. is concerned. If North Korea is sending large numbers of troops, tens of thousands, to Russia, and if Russian soldiers are going to use these North Korean troops on the front lines, sending them forward while Russian troops remain behind, North Korea is completely fine with this. They have plenty of soldiers and will keep sending them to Russia. South Korea's fear is that, in return, Russia will likely provide North Korea with highly advanced nuclear technology. This assistance won't be forgotten by Russia, just as the USSR helped India in 1971 when it was needed. In a time when Russia is facing unprecedented sanctions, with over 16,000 sanctions imposed, far more than on North Korea, it is almost certain that Russia will reward North Korea in exchange for sending troops. NATO has also issued an open warning, stating that since North Korean soldiers are now involved in the Ukraine war, NATO's involvement might increase as well. Moreover, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, during a recent visit to South Korea, openly stated that the U.S. will defend South Korea using any weapon necessary, including nuclear weapons, if needed. This commitment from the U.S. is significant, especially because South Korea does not possess its own nuclear weapons. This suggests that if Russia provides nuclear weapons to North Korea, American nuclear weapons will stand behind South Korea. The developments on the Korean Peninsula are highly dangerous. I'm not saying that these weapons will necessarily be used. North Korea is mainly positioning itself to have leverage if negotiations with the U.S. occur. However, even a small incident could sometimes trigger a war. So, I would say this region will be in the news a lot in the coming months. I'll bring you an updated video if any new developments arise.